In this video, I'm going to be philosophizing on enterprising and how innovativeness is an innate aspect of us as individuals, and pertains particularly to not just the syntheses of existence in relation to our consciousness and our volitional minds, but through our volitional minds tends to be something that is an optimizer of well-being and also a sustainer of well-being that provides access to goods, necessities, and essentializing resources in which we often need and consume, and which is one way and offers a set of ways for us to be able to attain the virtues of abundance and gather goods and necessities that we need, and also in which we desire and crave, and which we are directed towards often through our intents and the meaningful directions that are associated with those intents, and which we tend to purpose and find new purposes for, as well as expands our knowledge and mastery of the world through often effortful metabolisms that are directed through our own enterprisings. And enterprisings have to do a lot with our ideations and what we think about the world and what we think in terms of what's possible, and these possible possibilities and our own potential. And when we have this crave for more in life, more worthwhileness, a desire or an aspiration for more, or we don't quite feel like we have what's good enough for ourselves, we are often in a state in which enterprising towards a more prosperous, abundant future for ourselves tends to be something that is of most importance, because what enterprising really does, when it orients and aligns our self-direction with our perceptions of what's actually possible and really true and realistic for ourselves in terms of acquiring the goods and necessities that we need, and also catalyzing the innovativeness that's innate within our being through meaningful interests and engaging in the world in more of these meaningful ways that are related to our ideations that might not align with what's psychologically true or realistically true pertaining to these subjective and objective relationships that establish truth through these material and substance interactions that involve material and immaterial relations that pertain to thingness, objects, as well as knowledge, information, and meanings, and meaningfulness, and what we deem meaningful, and not just what seems meaningful, but what we actually determine and deem to be meaningful. And it's through enterprising that we can move more from the seeming of what things should be like or what things are actually like, to more of this deeming that this is now the case, or I have good enough, and I'm now in a state in which I can provide not just for myself but for others, and exemplify these strengths and strengthenings and this innate innovativeness that's associated with these enterprising efforts that are forward-looking and tend to expand our consciousness and also our own sense of positive well-being that's deeply related to positive qualias and qualia that pertains to the constituents of our conscious experience that supports our well-being and regulates ill well-being directly through being able to increase our cognizance and awareness, but also our self-regulations and self-intelligence of how various experiences and interrelated thingness associated through these subject-object relationships and the various substances of our existence influence our consciousness and our moment-to-moment experience through qualia, and which directly influence qualia that have these characters of good or bad, pleasant, unpleasant, interesting, joyful or characterized by negative emotion, such as maybe it's sadness, or you have a low mood. These are all experiential aspects of qualia in which are regulated and which tend to broaden and expand so we can experience a larger variety of emotions, and also come to nuance our experiences more through the affects that we experience, but also the cognitions involving knowledge become more refined and sharper and authentic in relation to our ideations, and what we perceive to be true actually starts to come more in alignment, or we start to also form more of these syntheses of the volitional mind that allow us to expand the possible possibilities, not just for ourselves, but exemplify that and provide a model for others to start to innovate on the prior workings and exemplifications of our own workings and laborings through our own generation of abundance and obtainment of the goods and necessities that ultimately optimize our well-being through these self-optimizers in this optimization process of enterprising. So that's all I wanted to say for now and on enterprising for this video, but I'll be talking much more on this topic moving forward. So I hope you enjoy. Bye.